everybody, welcome to Page Screen and Beyond. My name is John Tubbs,
And I'm Keegan Lagervall.
and we're going to talk about some pages, screens, and beyond. So, Keegan, what do you got for me?
Let's start things off with The Walking Dead. They're ending their comic run at issue 193.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely heartbreaking. It's been a very interesting ride following Rick Grimes and friends and their many adventures in this perilous world of walkers.
God damn it.
Yeah. It's actually very interesting because
But the dragons never showed up.
What's the equivalent in this show? 'Cause from season one, we've seen herds.
Yo, for real.
Atlanta herds are immensely terrifying.
Did we even see, different forms of zombies, like fast runners or, exploders or anything?
Closest thing we got was, various levels of decaying make them pop up in places you wouldn't expect. Trapped in some sludgy, mech, and then
they just seem
popping
to be
out of the ceilings, all types of
they just
shit.
seem to be right where you don't want them to be the whole time, rather than I kind of like the Left 4 Dead franchise and how they have the different types of zombies and stuff, the fast runners, and then the witches.
Yeah, Dead Island was another great
Dead
example
Island,
of that.
yeah. I also like
with the Rams.
What's that one where it was parkour? Nightfall? No. Dying Light.
Dying Light. I was going to say Dead by Daylight, but that's not accurate.
I played Dying Light a bunch, and I really liked that type of format where it was regular zombies during the day where you could just hop over them and they were just slow walkers or whatever. The occasional exploder that would put stuff on your eyes and you'd have to wipe it away. Well, but I liked that during the night they changed into hunters, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Super terrifying, not zombies you want to fuck with. And they will kill you.
Yeah, I like having different types of monsters, but I think the selling point for Walking Dead was definitely the characters.
It was
very much like Last of Us in the sense where, the clickers, the walkers, they're a threat not to be taken lightly for sure, but the real drama is in the human struggle. You know, apocalyptic scenarios.
How are we going to retain our humanity when everybody else is dead? Basically.
Yeah.
Which I get. There's that. And then dealing with, the different factions of people. But we never actually saw, different zombies. It was all kind of, the same. Which I think is fine. Each zombie brand is going to have their own type of zombie.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think they just could have made it so... They could have brought up the viewer count, I think, if they would have added different types of zombies.
Zombie dogs and whatnot.
Something, yeah. 28 days later type thing where, anything can get infected.
You just want sprinters. All you want is...
Well, I want sprinters, or I want a zombie bear, really, is what I want to see. And I want to see, where, they encounter a dead bear. Because that's bears are terrifying. I don't know if you've encountered one, but just a black bear is kind of terrifying. They can kill you and not care about it.
Oh yeah, effortlessly.
So they're already pretty much zombies. So seeing Game of Thrones had that polar bear scene where that dead polar bear tore him to pieces, but that was all the Night King and he was controlling them, and that was a whole other thing. But to see a actual zombified a deer, think about a deer zombie or a wolf zombie or fucking a snake zombie.
Isn't that a lot of what's going on in Days Gone? The sprinter zombies you're looking for. I swear in the trailer.
All I know is that Days Gone is DayZ. No, not DayZ.
World War Z?
World War Z type zombies where they're just a wave.
Right.
It's a wave rather than...
But then in the trailer there also was a bear. So
that's right, there was.
Wolves chasing you on the motorcycle. So there is an outlet for that exact thing.
I haven't played Days End
It's enticing for sure.
God damn it. So, yeah, who was that written by again?
Robert Kirkman. He actually said himself that he would have ended the series earlier, and it would have been darker, but, for the sake of, money and expansion of lore, They kept it going past. They were going to end it in Alexandria.
So they just ended it because
193.
Do you think they ended it because the show is kind of losing favorability? So they're just like, this money train's kind of ending its road.
It could be any number of things.
They just want to move on to other things, maybe.
Well, and what do you progress onto in such a story driven by characters when all of the characters have reached their apex? Yeah, I mean, they've reached the height of what they're doing.
So, speaking of reaching the peak. The co-creator of the Walking Dead franchise, is helping to write Marvel Zombies, if you knew that. Because they have like a zombie franchise where they just kind of zombify all the like characters you know and love, and they actually announced a new one. I don't know if we talked about it last week, but yeah. And the co-creator of the Walking Dead franchise,
he actually wrote the original.
Kirkman? Yeah, Robert Kirkman.
He wrote the original back in 2005, 2006, and then the subsequent sequel came out a year later. So they went from 2005 to 2008 of two separate runs, and since then, aside from a sprinkling in Secret Wars in 2015, it's been over a decade since we've gotten a Marvel Zombie story. Exactly. So it's coming out in October, and ironically enough, it's coming out just as DC is wrapping up their equivalent of a zombie run in DCeased.
Oh, shit,
the DC right. Logo, DCeased. Yeah.
Yep.
So that ends in October, right as Marvel Zombies is starting theirs.
God damn it. So everybody's getting on that zombie train, apparently.
Hey.
Well, it's more comic book led, which I like. I mean,
it's a now genre that the Walking Dead, ironically enough, never going to die.
Yeah,
it is undead.
But like,
doesn't matter whether it's crawling or sprinting.
I mean, like they're just. I don't know if they're just trying to take if they know like the Walking Dead comic book series is like starting to end, and they're just trying to like.
I would not be surprised to see Robert Kirkman involved in the October's Marvel Zombies 3. I would be very surprised if he wasn't, and
I feel like that's kind of his baby.
It's unfortunate that it seems like you can point a finger at Marvel Zombies as if you're upset about the Walking Dead ending, but realistically, you have to think about again it being a character-driven story where all of the characters have reached their through lines. Why not end it and tidy things up rather than potentially leaving a dragging your feet along franchise that people have lost interest with because you've killed off so many of the characters you cared about that the subsequent characters you replace them with don't have the allure of the original cast.
They're just thrown in because you need new characters,
right?
Rather than actually having like.
And at that point, just do a subsequent spin-off series.
Yeah. Well, whatever makes fucking money at that point. I mean, yeah.
What the fans love too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm stoked on Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you want to see a Marvel character that you cannot recall seeing as a zombie before? Because I mean, they've covered a lot. The artist that did this depicted Wolverine, Deadpool, and Captain America.
Yeah.
Which I mean, Deadpool zombie is just going to be whippy as all get out.
Yeah, I feel like he's still going to be breaking the fourth wall at that point, which is I can't wait for that. As far as other comic book characters that I'd like to see zombified, see that's the thing, that's a hard one because you want like the zombification to like add to their power, but someone who can't die that has already died. I think a zombified Spidey would be cool.
Yeah, Spidey was cool in the.
He's kind of hot right now, as far as popularity, and do you remember I was just watching clips from Logan the other day. Speaking of Wolverine, but what about the little girl?
X-23 is zombified.
X-23, because it's a little girl, and then Wolverine, and then a zombie.
Yeah, I
so
wouldn't
that's
be opposed
the ultimate form of I'm fucked. I'm about to die. All right. So what do you got for me next?
I think Witcher is an interesting story right now.
Shit, that's right.
Netflix is about to be adapting, starring Henry Cavill, based off of the 3 games that have started since 2007. It has a scheduled fall release. I'm very in the dark when it comes to The Witcher, and I respect people who, like that's their cup of tea. I have nothing against it. It's just nothing that I've been exposed to, so I don't have a whole lot to draw from.
I've only played the first one and then a little bit of Wild Hunt, which was a cool game, beautiful game. I thoroughly enjoyed what I played of it, but I wasn't able to finish it.
There's inevitably going to be a fantasy void in television right now, which it's going to be a race to see who can be the next Game of Thrones. But I don't know how to feel about this one just yet because it's such early days in it. We have Comic-Con to look forward to right around the corner, so we can potentially
we might see something there. I'm just worried that they rushed into it. I'm worried that they kind of saw the wave of The Witcher coming or happening, the creators of it, and they're like, we need to make a movie now. We just need to make a movie or a show. Is it a show or a movie?
I'm pretty sure it's a series.
It's a series.
Yeah.
It is a series. Yeah, of course. That's one that's gonna
take over.
So
potentially. We'll see.
I'm just worried that they kind of I'm worried that the people who are producing it aren't I'm sure their hearts are in it, but I'm worried that the actors aren't going to be able to become the characters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where
worried about the wig on Henry Cavill distracting you from what the story is supposed to be.
I just I see Henry Cavill and I don't just see Superman. I just see a guy. I don't see an actor. I just see a guy who's playing a guy now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And yes, he is Superman. Great at Superman, and he was great in the last Mission Impossible.
Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, and I just worry he's for me, I get really taken out of it when I can tell that the actor they're just kind of reading lines.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're not really becoming the character, and I can tell that. I've seen a lot of movies, and I can tell when their heart isn't in it.
Right.
I feel like that's something I can pick up on, and I just worry that they kind of picked Henry Cavill because he was kind of in the moment, in the spotlight, and they're like, we need someone who's gonna be buff and good looking and kind of mysterious but also modern. And
I'll give it the benefit of the doubt simply because of the fact that I love genres. Fantasy might not necessarily be my particular genre, but everything deserves its moment in the sun.
I also don't want it to be a CGI fuckfest.
Well,
where they just kind of are putting a lot of it. They're not putting as much attention into the writing as they are into the CGI or the auxiliaries in the story. Because Witcher has such a good story and a good narrative and a good story arc for Gerard that I worry that they're just gonna take it in a whole nother direction, like Game of Thrones season 8, where they just kind of are well, we have all these pieces, so let's put them together in the coolest looking form, instead of actually writing a good story.
Mm-hmm. A valid concern for sure. I'm not trying to take anything away from it.
From the pictures I've seen,
optimistic.
it looks. I'm cautiously optimistic because it's it's not I'm a huge fanboy of it, but at the same time this could get me to go back and play the game.
It also doesn't hurt with Netflix's track record.
Yeah.
Netflix,
I'm glad it's with Netflix, because at least with Netflix they can go for the swearing, the nudity, the gore, the sex scenes, the everything, and not really give a fuck and just throw the money at it. And I like Netflix's track record with what they've been doing, but I'm worried. Like, it all happened so fast, and I don't want it to just, like...
Try and rush to fill the gap.
Yes. I don't want that to be, like, a series that they just want... They know they can make, so they just make it.
Well, and they have an extra layer of difficulty because video game adaptations, whether it's film or TV, proves challenging. People have such high expectations of their beloved characters
100%.
that putting anyone in the role, doesn't matter whether they're competent or not, it's still a hill to climb for the fan base that you're trying to attract.
Mm-hmm. That's
just like, look at fucking Sonic.
The same thing is happening right now with the Halo series. They casted Pornstache from Orange is the New Black as Master Chief.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what Master Chief's face looks like now.
I mean, should not necessarily matter for a bulk of the series, depending on what time frame it takes place in.
But
plus,
at the same
I could
time,
totally see body actor and voice actor being two separate things. I mean, they could bring Master Chief's voice actor in.
Oh, 100%. He's gonna have stunt doubles and but yeah, I'm just like, I know that like with the Halo series, they've been working on it a bunch, and Steven Spielberg is producing it, so I have faith in that.
That can't come out soon enough, simply because the fact that I'm not, as a Sony kid, I'm not super knowledgeable about Halo. I mean, it's enticing, but all of my experience is basically, third party.
From what I can tell, it's going to be about the Master Chief, as well as a couple other people, but mostly about the Master Chief. So it's going to be a nice...
Lean on your brand.
So it's going to be a nice introduction, I think, for
Spartans
people...
versus what, the Elite?
It's going to be versus everybody, I think.
Okay.
Chief versus everybody. And I don't know what the story's going to be. All I know is that, like, it's... From what I can tell from what the people have said about it, who have been working on it, is that it's going to be a introduction for people who aren't, like, familiar with Halo.
Yeah, exactly what we need.
So that's what I want to happen with The Witcher, is for it to be like a genuine introduction into the brand, into the whole gaming thing, because
unlike Halo, we don't have to wait very long to find out about what it is going to be.
Well,
Comes
also
out
with
this
The
fall.
Witcher, we haven't had like another Witcher game for a few years now, and
yet still popular enough to get the attention.
With this happening, I come to believe that they're probably going to be showing something at the next E3. So, is this going to be an intro into that game, or is it going to be something that stands alone on its own?
That's an interesting take that I didn't consider. If they're trying to re-spark fandom with a well-executed show in order to gain revenue to be able to have
because that's what I think the Halo series is doing too, is they're going to be releasing it with the game next holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be combining like all of these different media types to like sell the brand.
Right, one hand washing the other.
And I think that I worry that this is a standalone thing, and that it's just going to be like, throw some money at it, throw some writers at it, and see what you can come up with, rather than tying it into maybe the next installment.
I mean, best case scenario, it's the Deadpool effect, where you can royally screw up a project, but if you have people that follow it up, approaching it with the love that it deserves, because I mean, that's the whole thing, is if you have someone who loves The Witcher, then they're going to put their heart and soul into making a good Witcher story. Like, you can throw all the money in the world at them, but their vision isn't going to be compromised because they love the property and they know, even if you miscast or even if you are too reliant upon CG, you can still have a good narrative if you have someone at the helm that cares about the IP.
Yeah, and that's
best case scenario.
Yeah, that's that's of course what everybody wants, and we want people to we want the people who are producing these things to be listening to the fandom and seeing what they want, and I really hope that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, all right, what else do you have in mind?
I love this next topic because it's such a wide array from one individual. Adi Shankar, he has done so much over his career with doing Bootleg Universe, which is his own production company, through which he has made the Power Rangers Dark fan film.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and more recently of which he made The End of Pokemon, and it's a trailer at this point, so he might still be coming out with more onto it. It is a very dark take. I cannot recommend it for the squeamish. Well, it's the guy who is a showrunner on Castlevania on Netflix as well.
Yep.
And he has a very dark take. And I mean, it's a we grew up as kids with these pop culture icons, the Pokemons, the Power Rangers, whatever may have you. Castlevania is a little side scroller, and then we grow up and we have to face all of these adult darker themes, and he doesn't shy away from it. He takes
the
familiar. Oh yeah, and, I mean, he thrives in it. You know what I mean? Like, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but dude can paint a picture.
Game recognized game.
Man. And so he was recently asked if he were to be given keys to the castle, essentially, if he could make any live action adaptation of any existing source material. He wants to go after My Hero, which I
know
respect.
Nothing about.
Oh, My Hero is very vast.
I've heard
anime
so
X-Men
things.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But and
it's
it's
like anime X-Men.
Exactly. The only concern that I have is it's so early in the series, because I mean the manga itself is young. The subsequent anime that follows is also incredibly young, only rolling up on seasons 3 and 4. So I would like for these kids to grow a little more, because if he's painting this dark portrayal, I mean, My Hero deals with some pretty adult themes through a child lens. But I think that if you're going to have this take of, I'm taking child source material and the children that grew with it can appreciate what it is, I feel like you have to have a time where kids are introduced to My Hero, and then through My Hero having prolonged exposure affecting a generation, then you come back around to it and be like, okay, well, I mean, listen, you thought the take was skewing towards dark before. Now we're really hammering.
So we're
going to
go adult now.
Worst case scenario.
You thought this was child's play with what it could be. So interesting. Yeah. So
time will tell.
What other stuff has he done?
Okay, so with his Bootleg Universe, he has a production company that he's done like music videos. He's done animated shorts, stuff like that. And
that's right. He did the Power Rangers stuff. So
he's very hush-hush on it right now, but in the same interview where they asked him what he would do live action and he responded with My Hero, they are kind of hinting at the fact that he could be doing much in a similar vein of Castlevania.
So is that something he wants? So is that something he wants to do, or is that something he's doing? Because those are two different
I think
things.
The My Hero is more his personal ambition, and I think DMC, Devil May Cry, is something that he had to say no comment on because of the fact that it's something where the wheels are turning. Nothing's set in stone, but it's very popular rumor that that's what his next project is going to be.
Like a live action dope?
No. In the vein of Castlevania, his dark animation style. Because live action is not something that he's inexperienced with.
That'd be super cool.
But he thrives in the dark animation.
Yo, that'd be perfect for him.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I can't endorse this enough. I mean, dude is definitely making waves, and still so early in his career that a lot of his stuff is fan-made stuff. The Power Rangers film never got greenlit because it was a take that Saban did not want for the property. Mm-hmm. The End of Pokemon should not be seen by kids or adults unless you have... unless you have an affinity for graphic adult content.
Yeah.
It is aggressive, to say the least.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if that's your niche... He thrives. He is so good at what he does. And again, with his stuff being fan-made right now, Castlevania he was a showrunner on, and DMC is something that's potentially in the works. But, I mean, give him a few years. Like, Adi Shankar is going to be a household name if you, thrive on that kind of style.
On that.
I mean, it's not for everyone. I'm not trying to pitch it as, you know what I mean, household
it's not a
should
family-friendly style or aesthetic.
No, but I mean, the horror genre in and of itself is something that thrives off of being not for kids.
Exactly. Can't make everything for kids, okay?
Yeah, but you can grow to appreciate everything.
Fucking kids. That's why I'm not having kids. Then I don't have to do anything for them.
You know who the kids do love, though? Fucking Spidey.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. He's what everyone's talking about.
Yep, and he
spins a web, and he's British, but we don't give a fuck. Look out! Here comes the British douche. No, he's not a douche. He's a nice guy. He's a nice kid. But
that hurt me a little.
Hey, that was actually pretty good. I just freeballed that there. So
wow.
Yeah, but no. Spider-Man. VR. I heard they're actually working on.
Available now, free on Steam and PSVR. Yeah. So I mean, if you have any VR system, you can go home today, or if you're already home, just whenever you have the time.
I thought that was just being worked on. I didn't know that was actually fucking out.
No, people have already gotten their hands on it, and I can't wait. It gives you the ability to swing because this is the far from home, as opposed to the Homecoming one was a lot more stationary because it was earlier in VR.
Yeah, I remember.
So now
seeing,
VR, it's giving you the option to swing based off of how you use the motion controls. It gives you 4 character costumes from the MCU's history, but it is, unfortunately, from what I've been seeing, pretty poorly received.
I mean, it's early stage VR.
Well,
I mean,
VR itself is early stage.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you can't expect a whole lot, but...
Did I already have that up? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's developed by Create VR. And they did the first one, the Far From Home one, so they, as a company, are being able to learn and grow because they didn't have the swinging in the Homecoming one. They also did the Ghostbusters VR.
I'm just watching a video of some dudes playing it. It looks pretty neat.
Well, and the mechanics are tough, but, I mean, that's kind of a lot of VR mechanics in general right now.
Yeah.
And especially since we don't live in a world of Ready Player One with having full body suspension, it's kind of an awkward feeling when you drop, as, you know what I mean, stories tall, swinging in the air.
Yeah, right.
You get that gut.
That's not exactly an easy feeling to get used to.
Right. But man, being able to shoot webs and be looking around and just living in New York as the Marvel Universe, it's very enticing.
Now, this is really interesting because, like, how far off do you think we are from, like, we're at least, like, 2 or 3 years off from, like, a real, like, good quality VR, like, game.
Did you say 2 or 3 years? Because, honestly, with what our expectations of VR is, we're talking 2-3 decades till we have suspension suits where you can, you know what I mean?
Well,
if you're falling, you get lifted up to the point where your feet aren't touching the ground.
Yeah, I know. Like, we're not. Oh, that's a different level. We do have suits though. VR suits are a thing. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, gloves are a cool concept.
I mean, this one's $950, but it's. Oh no, that's a wetsuit. Never mind.
To each their own when it comes to how you want to experience VR. I mean, there's nothing saying that there's anything wrong with the people putting their phones in a little cardboard box in front of their eyes for a VR experience. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need all the bells and whistles for essentially immersing yourself in the world. You know what I mean? You can do entire VR movies just being able to, like, look around and see what the narrative being pushed in front of you is from all angles.
Mm-hmm.
But the Spider-Man Far From Home VR does make me excited to see how we're going to progress with this form of gaming. Because, I mean, the swinging is interesting.
And then you got the
but it makes you
dick holster.
Yeah, that's not a VR.
It's a virtual reality sex suit.
It's a fleshlight that's...
It's a fleshlight that's
much
attached...
more technology.
To some wires, and it looks like a girdle of some kind.
God, I really wish you wouldn't have shown me that.
God. Oh, yeah, I'll show you some more.
I'd really rather you didn't.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Oh, it's like a hazmat suit, but a nympho hazmat suit.
Oh, there's like a pad on his stomach? Is that supposed to, like, simulate a head?
I don't like whatever I'm
looking at. Or the ass? I don't know. This is
almost as weird as what we're talking about next.
I'm probably going to go to jail for looking at this. No.
Oh man.
I mean, I looked up VR and that's what came up. So, and then you got the full armor. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's much better than a fucking cod piece.
That just looks like the first Iron Man. But anyway, no, that looks super sweet. I'm excited to see where they go with it. If anybody's, I mean, it's on Steam, so people are going to be modding the fuck out of it, I hope, and adding their own spins to it. There's probably going to be like...
Well, think about how much advanced it's going to be becoming by the time the next Spider-Man game comes out.
I wonder if you could port yourself into like a Grand Theft Auto game as that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, VR Grand Theft Auto.
VR Grand Theft Auto, Spider-Man.
Oh, on top of it being Spider-Man.
On top of it also getting Spider-Man, yeah.
So, Spider-Man in the world of going in VR.
Yeah.
That's pretty absurd, but also gonna make for some
allow it. We'll see what comes from that.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a dangerous but hilarious endeavor. I don't know. But no, I'm excited to see where they go with this. Because, yeah, this looks sweet. I mean, it is pretty primitive, but at the same time, it's not. Like, if you think about, like...
The graphics are a little blocky, but with that said, you're also being able to, in real time, look in any direction mid-swing and control with your controllers.
Yeah, in more or less.
And you have to see where your web is going, so it's like you can't just, like, look away and shoot in the opposite direction.
Yep.
I mean, how it looks, because each hand appears to have targets, and where the targets land when you shoot is where your web is going to stick to.
I mean, it's a little funky. You know, it's going to have some... Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, there's the drone things. Oh, they're dropping shit on you? Oh, shit.
Yeah, the mechanics look a little wonky as well, but... Again, everything can be developed over time and
this is
going to
be, like, I'm saying, like, in 2 or 3 years, this is going to look way better to the point where it's going to be almost, like, once we get the graphics together, too, and the high processing rates and shit.
And we also kind of have to keep in mind, like, playing devil's advocate, we're looking at this on a screen. So, looking at it on a screen, it looks kind of blocky and cheesy. But if you're, like, trapped in this world, like, it feels like you're in this world.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, it looks a little cartoony. But, I mean, if anything's going to look cartoony, Spider-Man does not hurt.
Yep, I'm excited for it. And it makes me want to get a PC and a VR unit.
I'm going over to Josh's, like, next weekend.
$10,000 endeavor, but... either way, no, the future of this looks exciting. So, speaking of exciting and future stuff,
got that?
God, that transition.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so smooth.
Butter, baby.
No, so I'm a real big fan of Rooster Teeth.
Hadn't noticed.
I haven't noticed, because I'm a huge fan of Halo, and they are connected to Halo, and they just had their own convention, RTX, this year.
Okay.
This last weekend or the weekend before, and they unveiled a game that they've been working on called Vicious Circle, and
You tell me Rooster Teeth and making a game, and all respect to
I didn't know it was happening.
Well,
like, I'm so balls deep into this fucking company, and I didn't know it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blown away by, like, not only the art style they're going with, super dope, but also, like, just the game itself. Like, it's got a crazy dynamic where it's like an escape room, but it's also like that Evolve game where it's like you and some friends versus another friend who's a giant monster trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And if that monster kills you, then you turn into, like, a zombie, so it's kind of like an infection game mode where you can, like, take control of other teammates too, and it's like it's a whole in-depth, like, new type of play style but it's got similar graphics to like Overwatch, kind of, and it seems like the type of gameplay that would be in like, you know, an Overwatch offshoot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to lead into saying is as much respect as I have for Rooster Teeth, creatively with their entertainment, I was not expecting the graphics to be to this quality. The gameplay itself seems a little gimmicky.
Yeah,
but it's definitely a fun party game.
This looks like
the premise of it seems very much to be like you can ally with people, but there can only be one winner. So you will work together to try and maybe defend yourself against the monster or take out 2v1 one of the other people. But ultimately you're out for self, and it gives you many opportunities
you're
for
fighting
screwing
against
over your friends.
enemies as well as the big enemy. So it's a bunch of different game types that kind of are thrown together.
Yeah, they refer to it as an uncooperative shooter.
Yes, an uncooperative shooter. But the thing is, like, you can sit down and play. It's got the feeling of like sitting down and doing like a LAN party with your friends, where you just sit down on two screens and you just kind of all are wreaking havoc on each other.
Do we have a release date for this? Because I know that we have the announcement trailer, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see.
But yeah, as far as like the game itself, none of the individual characters seem to be anything I globbed onto from a trailer, but the monster element of it, the monster itself is entertaining. It's like this giant, grotesque, like mutated chicken with a like tentacle mouth.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, that's just one monster.
Absurd. Right.
It's a giant chicken that like opens up from the stomach. So
I imagine that it's going to be less about who you're playing as and more what you're playing against.
I think they're still working on the game, but they unveiled it at their Rooster Teeth convention RTX. So they were like letting people play it on the floor and type of thing, but I think they're still in the process of like working out the kinks from what I can tell.
So they're not far enough along in development to be able to give a release date.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean,
that's cool.
The trailer itself is I'm not dying to get my hands on it, but I'm much more excited about it having seen the trailer than I was at face value.
Yeah.
Vicious Circle is the name of it if you want to check out the trailer. And I mean, much in the way that I would give Witcher the benefit of the doubt with not really knowing anything.
Yeah.
I very much am... I like niche genres like this. It's a gimmicky game. It's very much, in its own field. But it's got enough of a unique skin, and with the infesting other people with, you know what I mean, your little, like, when you die, that respawns you as a little wiggly monster.
Yeah.
Using that little wiggly monster to possess someone is an interesting wrinkle.
It's a good way of, like, keeping people playing, too. Like, it kind of, rather than just, like, playing until you die, and then you sit around and wait for your team to like either win or also die.
Right. Give you second wind.
You become the like big bad when you like die from the beginning. So I just like I really appreciate that they're becoming an actual like production studio where they're doing not just like comedy and movies and fun skits and whatever, but they're making video games. And I don't know if
which
you're
is their niche anyways.
Is their niche. And if anybody's going to make a crazy, wacky alien space game with a giant chicken that eats you and turns you into a zombie alien, it's going to be them. And it makes them that much more of a like solidified like powerhouse in the gaming and like entertainment community, because they're actually like, instead of just being just Rooster Teeth who makes funny shit, they're actually like making like they've made like little mobile games, but this is like a console game. I mean, it's on Steam, but it's a console ready game, it looks like. And I've been with them since the beginning.
Yeah, honestly, you guys can't see it because of audio only, but his face is just lit up, elated right now over this.
It's super cool to see them. Well, it's like seeing someone you went to like high school with become and do things that you knew they could do, and living up to their potential.
Right.
But it's like a bunch of people. Like I've been a part of their community, since the beginning, and It's just like watching someone you love or a friend like grow up and do cool things.
Right. Feeling a sense of pride in the familiar.
Yeah, right. It's really cool to like, be a part of that and then watch it as it happens. So, and then play the game, of course. I'm going to I wish I could go down to RTX this year, but wasn't able to make it. And like I'm definitely going to try and make it next year, but like I'm glad to see that like they're becoming like a whole new thing as far as a company goes in the entertainment like business. They're a powerhouse. They're an underdog because not a lot of people like know about them. They're not a household name.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, fucking whoever. They're not fucking name a company that does gaming that does gaming and comedy and just nonsense and has a podcast that's #1 rated gaming podcast. So I just really appreciate that they're doing well in crazy shit. So yeah, give them a shout out. Rooster Teeth. So yeah, that's seems to be all I have. You have anything else?
Oh, I mean, I could go on and on about any number of different things, but for the sake of the things that we have to cover immediately today, I'd say that only other thing I would add is my answer, because you didn't ask me, would be Dr. Doom. I'd love to see as a zombie.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah, Dr. Doom.
I would love to see that level of magic and science and maliciousness also get tinted with bloodthirst. Like that's
brains.
Right. So yeah, no, I think that just about covers it. I'm stoked on everything that we've covered, and everything is looking up.
Hunky dory.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for stopping by. This has been a Page Screen and Beyond podcast, and
make sure and check us out. We are on Facebook. Right. We're on Twitter,
Duh.
Instagram. I mean, obviously here on YouTube.
Yep.
But make sure and if
also on SoundCloud. We're gonna be uploading our podcast to SoundCloud as well. If you want to give those a shout out, but give those a look, see if you can or want to. Yeah. But
check us out anywhere.
Yep.
No, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you, and like, comment, share.
Yeah.
Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about, because I mean, we're gonna listen to you guys. Whatever you guys want to hear us talk about.
Hit that bell down below, as they say, because we all know how YouTube is a bitch and doesn't notify people when videos come up when they should. So
if you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they shall.
Thanks, guys.
Again, this has been John Tubbs.
Keegan.
And we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.